Hello and welcome to the Matthew Orton Art channel again. Another time-lapse video today. I'm still trying to do Raw Umber Studios videos, but this was actually one that was live, so it was the one from last Sunday. I thought I'd better do one live so that I don't drop any more behind, because I'd only have to catch it up later. I'm determined to get value for money out of the Raw Umber Studios subscription, so I'm trying to do them all. They run every Wednesday and Sunday, a live drawing session and a portrait session. This is the portrait session, so it's a Sunday one. You can see already that it's a sort of side-on view of a model. You can possibly tell that it's going to be a man, but maybe not yet. The lighting is catching the front of the face, and the rest of most of the side of the face or the head is in shadow. So again, something different, a different challenge to normal. You can see that I'm using charcoal on grey Ingres paper again. I also use white chalk pastel pencil for the highlights shortly, and also a bit of charcoal pencil. So the grey of the paper will be the mid-tone on this, and the white will be the highlights. It's an hour-long session, as they all are, and I did this drawing within the hour-long session of the live session. I actually ended up being quite pleased with this one. There's quite a lot that I like about it. So I think the regular practice is paying off, and I'm getting much better. The likeness is really good as well. Sometimes my portraits end up looking like humans, but not exactly like the model that I was drawing. I don't think it's important. I think it's important to not get hung up on that really. When you're just practicing, the likeness will come the better you get, and you'll get better the more that you practice. So if you end up putting yourself off from practice by not being able to get a likeness, you are never going to get better at likeness, because you'll never do enough portraits to get to that stage. But this one, as I say, certainly turned out quite well. You can see now I've added the white highlights on the very edge of the nose and the cheek, the eyelid, that makes that side of the portrait pop. There are also whiskers on the beard and things that just catch the light, so I'm trying to indicate those as I put more shadow on the back of the head here. You have to be careful that they don't distract from where the light's coming from. You don't want too many of those highlights in the shadowed areas. Indeed, you could probably leave them off really. They're sort of like busyness that you don't need when you're doing a sketch like this in only an hour. It's also a complication that when you're doing an older gentleman like this with a beard, it has white highlights in the shadowed areas, which can complicate the shadowed areas really, because you want to put the whiter hairs in there. It's a grizzled beard, and you want to get the character of that without it looking like highlights in the shadows. So you just have to remember that the highlights that you're putting in the shadowed areas will always be darker than the main highlights where the light is catching the front of the face in this case. You see me just trying to put some hair at the top there, which is catching the light without distracting from the shadow basically too much. Very wispy thin hair on top on this model, so you can see the scalp through it, and long hair as well, so sort of cascading over the shoulders. So I'm now trying to put in some, not copying exactly the reference here, but I'm trying to put in the sort of curls of the hair as it cascades down the back, and you only have to put a few of those in to get the impression or the idea of what it is. You can also see that as I'm drawing, the paper is moving around in the camera again, so I apologize for losing bits of the bottom of this drawing as I've been doing it. But, you know, I get carried away on the drawing and not always checking whether the camera is in view, but I think we can see the main details and how I've gone about it. I've said before, I think it's far easier to do old faces than young faces because of all the references, like the creases around the eyes, for instance. And when you're using a triangulation method like I am, there's more to triangulate things into the right place if there's lots of creases and lines and crevices and that sort of thing. Certainly seemed to be the case in this instance because, as I said, it was a very good likeness by the end of it. Just tidying up the paper. Bit of a shadow on the nostril there. And then we're about done. Well, this is the final portrait. As I say, I'm overall quite happy with it. There isn't too much detail in the shadowed area. I've tried to sort of keep the detail to a minimum, but there's enough variation in tone to sort of indicate the curls of the hair, that sort of thing. I've got some white in the beard, in the shadowed areas, without it being too bright. So the lightest highlights are definitely on the front of the face to indicate the light is coming from the front. And overall good likeness. I hope you enjoyed watching the video. I'll keep them coming. I am practicing portraits and live drawing at the moment using the Raw Umber Studios site. I will only be doing that for another month or two, and then over the summer I will cancel it probably and maybe rejoin in the winter when it's not so easy to go out and about. Okay, if you did like the video, then give it a thumbs up. That would greatly help the channel. And do subscribe if you're new here. That will really help out as well. I hope it's inspired you to have a go yourself. And I hope that you can see as you watch these videos that they are improving over time, so the practice is helping. And really, if you are trying to learn art yourself and get better yourself, then practice is the main thing that I can recommend, really. I'm using all sorts of different media, but the Raw Umber Studios ones tend to be using charcoal and white pastel on coloured paper, so I'm having lots of practice at that at the moment. And I think it's important to stick with things. I am guilty of dotting around using all sorts of different media in my work, but I think it's good to have a period where you do focus on the same materials to get used to them, really. You will only get good when you sort of know how the materials work in depth, so that you can get the effects that you want in any sort of subject situation. Okay, well, I will see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.